So it's time to run my engine again this year. My tachometer, I think it's got a grounding problem. It's not working quite right. That's okay. I've been running a few minutes. The engine temperature is coming up some. Oil pressure is still reading pretty high, but that will come down when it really gets warm. I need to check for water leaks. I mean, this is temporary. I forgot to put a couple towels down just in case my exhaust is leaking. Oh well. I'll try that later if I need to, but I don't see any leaks. Get pretty good water flow back here. The bucket setup is trying to let it go out here in 4 minutes. Still getting good enough airflow in my strainer, or water flow, I mean. I haven't run this since last November, and it's early September now, so I probably should run it in the spring and the fall, but I'll run it a few more times before this winter. And this is feeding, I have fuel lines run under the floor where they're going to go when they go back here. Now I have a mounted gas tank, obviously. At least it's using the fuel lines that will be going to the main fuel tank instead of just short ones like I did last year. So that's something. So I know my first stage fuel pump, that's the low pressure one, it's doing a good job pulling through that line to get primed. So. I'm about to do my last engine test for this year, just to run it. I ran it earlier this fall, and now I'm going to run it some more now before I go ahead and winterize it. I'm going to let it run for a good 10 or 15 minutes, get the temperature up, and I've been working on my motor box here. I'll talk about that in another video, but I've got it on, temporarily, at least sitting in there. I just decided to leave it in there while I run this engine. But so I'm hoping to see my engine temp go up pretty good, and I've got my temporary fuel tank there with a return line. And this fuel, what I use, and I plan on using this always, is it's no ethanol gas, and I did put seafoam in it to basically help treat that fuel, so when it just sits here in the engine all winter, it'll be should help it. And so again, here's my setup. Got my hose all set up, ready to go. I just need to turn the water on, and then it's ready to go. So it's running, obviously, and it seemed like it took a little extra second or two to start, which I guess isn't totally unexpected, but coolant temp is coming up a little bit. Oil pressure, it runs high with these engines, and but I expect that's why I want to let it run for a while to actually get the oil temperature up. I want to see that come down a little bit. So down in there, you can see my sea strainer, water bubbling. I know it's getting water, and then the main thing is you check back here, there's good water coming out. That hose right there just laying there temporarily, that won't be there. That's actually my engine compartment vent hose, which is supposed to go up there, but I pulled it up this way when I was fitting my motor box. So it's coming up some. So I now need to check engine light. I think the wiring on that, I think it's not quite, so it's not on. When you first turn the key on, it actually lights up good, and then it's kind of dim. So I think that's just a grounding problem. Sure purrs like a kitten. I guess it should. Being a brand new engine. So. See, I'm gonna let it warm up real good because I want to see if any of the engine coolant overflows out that overflow hose. I'm guessing it won't, but I'll let it run here for a little while. So it's been running almost 15 minutes, and you can see the coolant temp is up a decent amount. And if you notice, the oil pressure is coming down a little, which is what I expect. And running the boat, running this engine, actually, when you're running the boat and stuff, because the temperature would really, especially oil temperature, get up, this will come down. Notice my hour meter, you can see it, 1.2 hours. So, boy, that engine's getting old. Yeah, still getting good water flow back here. One thing I noticed, my bucket is riding pretty low. I turned my hose up, but it's sucking as much as I'm putting in, but there's extra here, so the main thing is good water coming out there. So, I'm gonna let it run some more. So I still left it running, probably up to, it's over 20 minutes now, and you can see the water temp. I'm guessing the thermostat opened up, so it's hovering right there, whatever that is, between 100 and 175, whatever that is in between. But notice the oil pressure, it's come down now, and that's to be expected. So that means the oil temperature is rising, and it takes longer for that to happen. So it is, my oil pressure sender is working. See it changing. And I think I mentioned before, when I first ran this engine, I thought the gauge was just pegged, and of course it wasn't. I mean, it was just up at like 80. So wish I wouldn't have changed that oil pressure sender, but oh well. So I'm gonna let it keep running. One thing I've been doing is keeping an eye on the top of these risers to see how hot they're getting. And actually, when the engine is running, I mean, they're barely warm to the touch, which is good. Whoops! Took my sleeve on my throttle, because the top of my motor box is going to be pretty low to these. But I think what happens when I turn the engine off, that's when they get warm, because I know they get warm with this. it'll be when the engine's off, when there's not water flowing through it. But, because I can feel, of course, some heat, but it's good, at least they don't run hot. Why my engine was searching. I did turn this a little bit to see if I can lower the idle speed, but we can't. It doesn't work that way. You can raise it, but you can't lower it beyond. It's actually set in the ECM idle temperature, so it's kind of fair. What's going on there? Maybe I need to tweak it a little bit here. I turned it. I can get it back to where it was. Pressure, the oil temperature is probably stabilized, so it's reading about 70 psi, assuming this gauge is reasonably accurate. And then of course my water temperature, you can see it's gone up just a hair from last time I talked to you, but it's sticking right about the same. So I'm guessing this coolant temp and this oil temp are stabilized here. It's about the best I can do when we're sitting here idling. Obviously, if you're running the engine and throttling it, running a lot higher RPMs, the oil temperature definitely would go up. This might be fairly stable. It may go up a little, but I've got pretty cold hose water going in it, and so I don't know. I'm guessing this will be the run operating temperature normally, just a little bit above that center tick there. So about 135, 140 degrees. I guess we'll see one day once I get this thing in the water and actually use it. Still don't know why it's still trying to search away. Something to check on later. I may have to call Marine Power one day, but I'm not worried about it now. But all right, well, I'm gonna maybe let it run a little bit more, and then I'll turn it off and then turn it on again just to start it a couple of times. This will be it for this year. So I ran it over 30 minutes. So now I'm just going to go ahead and start it again. Here you can see my, what is that? You can see how my check engine light's coming on normally, which is normal until you start it. So there you can see all our pressure down a little bit. Oh no, my hose came in. Whoops. That's not good. Water all in my garage. Nice. heard was my hose falling out, fell out of the bucket. I didn't notice it until I looked down and saw my garage flooding. Looky there, up to, see it, 1.5 hours. And we'll try it again here. I got a little overflow in my bucket, so as the hose is running, it comes out that hole. Oh, there goes my hose again. Oh man. Oh. Another mess. Hold on. Okay, I'll start it up again. A mess back here. Overflow. Nothing out of there. Open. If I can draw that bucket down. There we go. Suck more water out of that bucket. Sorry for those snafus, but guess you'll have that. Now you can see, if you watch that oil pressure, again, for some reason it's kind of go, RPMs are idling up and down, but when it goes down a little bit, you can see it, when I rev it and then let go, also the RPM drops a little bit, and you can watch that pressure gauge. I guess it didn't do it that much, but I can see it fluctuating a little bit, going actually down below 70. As the RPM is down a little bit, so. Alright. I think that'll do it. Feet are wet. Shoes. It's nice. Okay. I don't think I've mentioned this before. So this is my flushing tee, and my hose that I used down here in the bucket, I put a little shut-off valve on this end of it, so that way when I unscrew it, not much in the way of water comes out, because otherwise the water in that hose, of course, would just drain down here in the boat. So, seemed like a decent idea. Forgot to turn that off though when I shut the engine off, so now my sea strainer is completely full of water, but I'll drain that when I winterize. Basically, this valve right here is a shut off to the water pickup. Well, I'll open it up, put a bucket underneath when I winterize it, which I will be doing maybe later today, but and that'll drain that, and I'll end up sucking out all that water anyway. So, but note to self back here, I had a clamp down here holding the hose, and then I just ran it up over. I used to clamp it on the lip of the bucket too, but I thought I didn't need it, and well, and of course that's why the hose fell out, and so I made a big mess that I've mostly cleaned up. Can't believe I made a mess, because I never make messes. Okay, now That's not true, just ask my wife. So anyway, so now I'll be kind of disconnecting all of this, and I mean, it's just basically one big connector. Already put the throttle away. And so yeah, next there'll be winterizing this, and I did take a video about how I did that last year, and I plan to follow the same technique. One last thing, after I've shut this off, it's been off for a little while, and of course, as expected, these are warm now, pretty hot. So, and then a lot of heat. Of course, I can feel residual from the engine, and that's to be expected, but just something to be aware of when you do your decking or however you do it. For me, my motor box, like I said, the top will be kind of close to this, so I got to keep that in mind. My plan is to put some kind of a thin layer of something, heat kind of insulation or something, just on top of those risers. That's my plan anyway, and so we'll see how that works.